So good afternoon everyone and welcome to TC. I'm excited to present this session with my colleague and friend who has been in Tableau from the last 6 years. Before Tableau, he was a Tableau champion like you guys in Cisco. In Tableau, he's helping some of the largest customers in deploying value out of their Tableau deployment. The fun fact about him is that he loves cricket and he comes from a town in India which has a viz in it called Vizag. Everyone, please welcome Sudarshan Sirapu.
Thank you, Sagar. Before that, very good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to TC. I'm hoping you are enjoying so far. And thank you for making time to come and listen to our topic today. And I am so delighted to be presenting with my very good friend, Sagar. And actually, I know him before he was my customer, actually. He was at Disney before. He joined Tableau a year ago. And he's a customer success manager out of India. And he's actually supporting some of the largest accounts in India as a CSM. And as a fun fact, he's a bookworm. He reads a ton of books. And he also runs a very passionate community called Wiz Connect in India. And also, he connects people across the globe with his community. So please welcome Sagar.
Thank you, Sudarshan, for that introduction. So today, I want to talk about data and data-driven culture. The importance of data is no longer a topic of debate. Do you agree with me, Sudarshan? And the companies are failing to document value out of their Tableau deployments.
I certainly do. Actually, these days, data is actually considered to be more precious than oil. That's what everyone says. So companies that have been using data for driving their decisions, they are more successful than others. Actually, in fact, there is a recent survey done by McKinsey where they actually surveyed more than 1,000 customers with more than 1 billion revenue. And they found some interesting facts here. And they said that only 92% of the companies that are actually using analytics are failing to scale, even though they are enabling self-service and all of this good stuff, but they're not failing to actually document the value. Because one of the prime reasons for that is not having a good data strategy.
So are you saying that only 8% of the companies are successful? I wonder what these 92% of the companies are failing to understand what these 8% are doing right. So will we discuss about this problem today in our session?
Yeah, I think certainly we will discuss more details into this topic. But also before we go deep into the topics, I want to understand, how many of you understand what we mean by value? Is this value that you're collecting in terms of cost savings or in terms of productivity gains? We need to make sure we all clear on the definition of value.
The important part is that the value has to be measurable.
So let's go into today's agenda. So what you're going to learn from today's topic. So we're going to cover the 5 pillars of value. So starting with how we define value, then how we identify it, and how we capture that, and then how we measure it, and then how we communicate that to your leadership. Because unless we do this, there's no point in whatever self-service analytics you guys are doing, and you're getting some wonderful use cases, but if you don't communicate at the end, there's no value to it. So we're going to talk about these 5 pillars today, and make sure you all pay attention because we will have some quiz at the end on these topics, and we'll give some prizes to you. Okay? So let's deep dive into it. So Sagar, start with defining. What do you really mean by defining value?
I want everyone over here present in the room to think about and go back when you were evaluating Tableau. What was your mission about it? Like for some organizations, it's about creating data-driven culture, or it's about creating data citizen scientists, or for some, it's about saving the business from drowning in data and starving from insights. Let's understand how you can define value now. It can be in terms of productivity, the impact it has to your business. the amount of time your user is spending on decision making rather than finding insights.
Or it could be product usage, where your organization is using data to actually go find some insights rather than basing on intuition.
Performance gain in terms of efficiency of an organization to improve their business in terms of production, sales, and delivery.
And also cost savings. How you are actually optimizing your deployments so that your company can save money, and also performance gains. Time is money, obviously. So cost savings is a big factor. So, but before I go in deep into each one of them, I would also say that most companies do not have a good BI strategy. And as I said, the survey that McKinsey has done, it actually found that companies that do not have a proper strategy actually fail to scale their analytics. And as you can see, I've put up a quadrant there, and I've placed different key areas within your BI platforms. And you might have different BI platforms, not just Tableau. Because today's, this is Tableau conference, you might be talking about Tableau, but you might be having other platforms as well. But we need to understand where these BI platforms fall under. And once you identify the areas where these platforms can be used, then you can actually guide your business users. When they come with their business requirements, you can guide them what is the right platform for them to use. It necessarily doesn't have to be Tableau all the time. But from a Tableau perspective, if you look at each of those 4 quadrants, we have discovery and experimentation area where you can actually use Tableau Desktop, where analysts can go freely discover information. But then once that goes to the next level where they want to ask ad hoc questions whenever they want to, and then we have web authoring built into the Tableau server. Or they want to scale it for the enterprise to have some enterprise dashboarding capabilities, and that's where your Tableau server can be used for that. And also the newest baby, we have Tableau Prep, which can be used for data preparation and data profiling, which is key capabilities also that should be part of your BI strategy. So once you have this BI strategy in place, I will advise all of you to make sure you revisit that BI strategy on a regular basis, because your business problems are not going to be the same all the time. They keep changing rapidly. So your BI strategy also has to be revisited on a regular basis so that you can actually see some of the platforms that you might have today may not exist 5 years later, right? But your BI strategy has to be always up to date, so that whenever you ask, when your executives come and ask you what is your strategy, you should always have it in your back pocket. That's what I call it, BI strategy. You should always have the most latest and current BI strategy at all times. So it's very important for us to understand this before we deep dive into each one of the 5 pillars of value that we're going to talk about today.
That's a great advice. And what we went back to our customers who are not only defining their business intelligence study, but revisiting it. What we found, there are 3 core capabilities which are making them successful. The first one is agility with respect to their environment. The second is proficiency with respect to their users. And the last one is community, connected, like-minded people. And it has to be governed by a trusted platform.
So before I actually show one of the very cool ways that we can actually measure all of this, I want to ask you in the crowd, raise your hands, how many of you heard Tableau Blueprint? That's great. You must have attended the Blueprint sessions this week, right? If you have not, we will also cover at the end. We will also give you some more information. So let's talk about Blueprint. What is a blueprint? It actually looks like a subway map, isn't it? But it actually gives you the tools that will guide you to measure these core capabilities. It actually provides the concrete plan, recommendations, and guidelines to actually work with the primary work streams that will turn repeatable processes into core capabilities. If you want to understand more in-depth details on Blueprint, we will also give you some information at the end of our session today. But just a high level for you to understand is that this tool will actually give you a framework where you can actually see where you are within your analytics journey and be able to assess yourself so to go to the next level. So this can be done by your CSMs or the account managers within your accounts. They can come and do this assessment with you, or you can do it on your own as well, self-service. And we will show you some of the ways that you can actually do that at the end of our session. Okay? So, Sagar, this is all good. But how do you actually identify the value?
Let's understand how we can identify value and how some of the largest customers are doing it right now. It starts from finding a Tableau champion. So what is a Tableau champion? Tableau champion is someone who has a business expertise as well as understand your business data, and it always helps your organization to follow the best practice. Sudarshan, you are a Tableau champion in Cisco.
Okay. I was actually one of them. I was not the only champion there. I worked for Cisco for a long time before I actually moved to Tableau. So I was a customer before I can start preaching all these things. I was a customer, so I was actually part of that community building activity where we actually not only just have one champion, but we actually nurtured more champions that are like-minded people with passionate about Tableau. And we were able to cultivate that culture across and empower these champions to go and spread that word across all the other departments that they are part of. Because I'm not going to be able to scale across all the hundreds and thousands of people out there, but if I can actually nurture the champions, then I can actually spread the word easily. So nurturing champions should be part of your plan at all times. So I would highly encourage to look at this option. So it could be part of taking Tableau certifications or attending Tableau conferences or organizing Tableau days or community activities within your organization. You can identify these people. They're always there, but we just have to keep our eyes open, ears open to identify these people and nurture them.
The next step comes, work with these Tableau champions to go ahead and find the use cases which has impacted your business and helped you to realize the value out of it with respect to financial and non-financial ROI.
Once you identify the use cases, we also have to define some metrics. Without having a metric, you can't really measure it. So make sure you have those metrics defined very well. It could be financial metrics or non-financial. It could be financial ROI, non-financial ROI, but they have to be measurable so that you can actually measure at the end. So identifying metrics should be the key as well. So Sagar, once we have identified, how do you actually collect all this stuff? Do you have any ways to share?
That's a great question. So let me share some of the insights and some of the ways I am doing it with my customers right now. The first way is to collect sound bites. Talk to your users. It can be a formal discussion and just ask them, why are you using Tableau?
So Sagar, that's a good one. I've also done some with my customers, sound bites collection, but also I've done creating some use case templates where I've actually asked the users to go fill the template for me, and I've able to get it back, the template fill, and which will actually contain the before and after their journey with Tableau. And so that I can use that information later to measure the impact that they are having with Tableau.
Followed by capture the metrics like cost saving, time saving, production gain with respect to your Tableau deployment.
And lastly, you also have to review these metrics with the people who really understand the business. That could be your business partner, or that could be your power users. They could be at any level, but who are actually making these decisions. Review with them and make sure these metrics are right for them. If they're not the right metrics, no matter how many metrics you have, it doesn't help you. So always do that review with the champions. Okay.
Let's understand some of the tools which you can start using now. The first one is how exactly you should create a template for sound bites. It can be a simple Google form in which you are collecting the department, the person name, the use case, and just asking them how exactly they are using Tableau. It can be followed by a detailed use case presentation with him. Sudarshan, do you want to share how you are doing with some of the largest customers?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my one of my easy ways I actually collect Tableau stories, a lot of people say, hey, how are you actually collecting so many use cases? That's what happens in our organization. We talk about it all the time. And like, okay, we are not able to collect a use case, but what are the techniques to collect these use cases easily? So we came up with this survey that can be developed in any technology. I don't want to name the technologies that we use, but then if you have your own internal survey tools, you can always create a survey like that and capture the before and after experience they're getting with Tableau, and also talk to them about what is the impact on their users. Like how many users are actually using this particular use case and what department they belong to. And once you actually collect the survey data, and they can also provide some external feedback as well other than this information, so that I can use this information to actually measure it. So this is what I do with most of my strategic accounts. So let's look at measuring the value itself. So, next slide. So value can be measured in multiple ways, whether it can be financial ROI, like cost savings or revenue generation, or time savings, like performance gains, etc. But our goal is to make sure we maximize the benefits and reduce the cost. So let's look at in detail on each ways that I use to measure value. So let me share a sample dashboard that I actually built in Tableau. So I know most of you must have recognized already. That's a Tableau dashboard. I actually built this dashboard to make sure I'm actually collecting, like in the previous case, when we showed the survey from JotForm or any technology that Sagar also mentioned, that data flows into my dashboard because I was able to connect the dots between the survey and the underlying Google form where I'm actually capturing that information, and that comes into a Tableau dashboard. And I can actually see there clearly that there are departments within your organization where there's many use cases compared to the other departments. So there's an opportunity for me to actually go to the other departments also to start collecting. But there are certain departments which have more use cases provided than the rest. And I can see that in the tree map by the size. But also they are providing some valuable information like the benefits classification. If you look at that, 6 projects are realizing the benefit already, and some of them are projected. And you can see the impacts could be time savings, production gains, cost savings, and revenue increase. So you can easily collect this information from the users who are actually part of your community, whether they could be coming to a Tableau day or whether they're coming to office hours, things like that, whatever you are doing within your organization. So before I actually go to the next one, how many of you know that you can collect desktop usage from your Tableau server?
Oh, that's good.
Wow, I'm impressed. That's good. So let's talk about those techniques, how to actually collect this. So before I actually dive into each one of them, I want to call out shelfware analysis. A lot of you, how many of you understand what is shelfware? Okay, not bad. Shelfware is something not openly discussed with everybody, so it's not pretty popular term. But shelfware is used to measure how much of your products are currently being used and how much is not being touched at all. So as part of the shelfware, we will be making sure that all of the investment that we have made on Tableau is used. Otherwise, there's no point spending money on that, right? So one of the techniques we're going to call out is desktop reporting, where you can use a package installer like a master key to measure that. And then we will also talk about server usage metrics, which you can collect from the server admin views. Sagar will be speaking about it. And then we also will talk about how we can do that from a customer portal, which you all have access in the room. So look at this example here. We are talking about how desktop reporting is currently within your Tableau server. This is the report that is actually built by Tableau server. I've not built this dashboard. This is coming out of your Tableau server. How many of you have seen this before? Not many. Any server admins in the room? Yeah, no wonder you saw that, right? Good. At least you know it. So this report can be actually sent to the end users also based on their permissions. Like if they're a site admin, they can actually provide this report to a site admin so they can see how many desktops are being used as part of their organization, and they can actually take an action on the keys that are not being used. So it gives you a report, very clearly says that there are some people in the organization who actually requested for a desktop license but haven't opened it. The desktop reporting feature, which is built in the server, will track every time you open Tableau Desktop. It writes a registry entry. It writes it back to your Postgres in your Tableau server, saying that you have opened at such and such time. If people don't open the desktop at all for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, the person don't need the license. So the platform team can make wise decisions on who to allocate the licenses. This is a great way, and this is given to you. There's no charge. It's free. It's already there in your server. Okay? Desktop reporting. The next one, Sagar, any techniques that you have used?
So desktop reporting is not just one tool by which you can go ahead and measure the shelfware. The next thing is about you can go ahead and run the server weekly usage report, which will help us to understand the number of unique users, the top 10 dashboards, number of clicks in a particular dashboard. So I will encourage everyone, talk to your account executive, customer success managers, who will help you to go ahead and run this weekly server report. And it can be run on a quarterly basis. It's a tool for you which will help you to understand the value you're getting out of your Tableau deployment.
So some of you might have restrictions on like providing the workbooks back to the CSMs or the account managers. Don't worry, you can also use the desktop feature like to export to a PPT. Now we have the PowerPoint export. You can export a PowerPoint presentation, or you can export a PDF. If you don't want them to edit it, you can export a PDF and then send the PDF once a quarter to the CSMs so they know how the adoption is going. Like it is very good practice, not just for the CSMs, but also for yourself to understand like what is the active usage on your server, how many users are actively using it, but also on number of workbooks or number of projects that are increasing over a period of time, because you do this on a quarterly basis, so you can see the trends for a quarter. Okay, but not the lastly, but not the least, you also have customer portal. How many of you have access to customer portal? Okay, I feel that some of you should also ask your administrators for the customer portal access. If you own a desktop license, you should have the customer portal access so that you know your license key is already registered on your name. If somebody else takes your key, then you know that as well. So make sure you use the customer portal to download the keys. The keys report is already available for any administrators on the portal. The keys report is available, and you can download the key report and open it in Tableau, and you can build a dashboard out of it, and you can say, hey, there are 30% keys that are not assigned to anybody, and they're not been activated yet. But you might be thinking, oh, we don't have license keys. But then the reality is you have keys, you don't know that you have it. And there will be keys available there at all times. So make sure you always have this report handy, the customer portal handy, so you can check how many licenses are still available for activation. And if you don't find any of those availability, then that's when you reach out for additional licenses. Okay? Make use of the customer portal.
The last step is all about communicating value. If you're not communicating value with your executive team, it doesn't matter whether you are defining value, identifying value, measure value, or capture value. Let's see how some of the largest organizations are communicating value now. The first step, it can be about during a quarterly business review. In this particular review, talk to your executive and help them to understand the value you're getting out of your Tableau deployment. It can be going ahead and showing a dashboard which we showed to you, just trying to explain the number of financial and non-financial ROI gains you're getting out of it.
Or at a Tableau day, I think I was mentioning earlier about the Tableau days. We do these Tableau days on a quarterly basis for many accounts. You should work with your CSMs. If you are not doing that today, I highly encourage to do the Tableau days, where we actually run a value booth, where we actually really run a value booth, and I'm going to go into more details at the end of my presentation about that. But the value booth is all about capturing the Tableau stories that users are coming to attend the Tableau days, and then be able to share that story back to your executives on what value they're getting. So the use case capturing can happen very easily at a Tableau day.
The next step is about a COE portal. Raise your hands, how many have internal portal back in the organization?
So you have a Tableau COE then, right? The Center of Excellence, that's the COE portal, what it means. Okay, that's very good.
That's great. The next step can be going ahead. So if you don't have a Tableau COE, contact your account executive and customer success manager. They will go ahead and help you how to exactly create a portal for your organization.
Lastly, also make sure you actually create your own user groups, internal user groups, so that you can actually communicate with all of your own team members, the value that you are getting from these use cases. And also, they get motivated from other users from other departments. Most of the times, decentralized organizations or large organizations, they don't even know each other. There might be several deployments across the company, and they don't know each other. So create ways to bring them together. It could be like an admin council or a business council, or you can actually have a user group, like once a month you meet like after work, just sit together and talk about how you are using Tableau and what the value you're getting. And it's not just about the success, but sometimes also the pain points. Like others are facing some problems while you're not, you are successful. So you can actually share your experience and maybe help them to get out of that pain point. So make sure you always communicate with your internal groups. So with that, I want to actually just do a small quiz before we go into the next section of our presentation. So we have some nice swag for today, but I want to make sure you all heard our 5 pillars of value, and these questions will be based on those topics. So let's start with the first question. Name the 5 pillars of documenting value. Yep. I want to use the mic. Sorry. There you go.
Define, identify, capture, measure, and communicate.
Oh,
there you go.
Right.
Awesome.
Yep.
What's your name again?
Brian.
Brian wins a T-shirt.
Thank you.
Woohoo! Okay, I think this was an easy question. Let's go to the next one. Name 2 ways to measure the shelfware.
Yep.
Desktop reporting.
One second.
Yeah.
Want everyone to hear that.
Desktop reporting and customer portal.
Yep. That's right.
That's good. Awesome. What's your name again? Mike. Mike wins the T-shirt again. Next one.
That's
Okay,
a tough one.
this might be a little tough. Name the Tableau community which Sagar runs in India.
Oh. Wow.
Oh, there you go. BizConnect. I thought it's going to be difficult. Okay, there you go. You're listening, paying attention then. Thank you. Next one.
The last one. Get ready. This is tough.
So, what is the name of my hometown in India?
Yep. Over there.
Vizag.
Oh, there you go. Are you from Vizag? No. So, yeah, it's a funny name called Vizag. Actually, original name was not Vizag, but then they renamed it as Vizag, and it has Viz in it. And I never knew, like, I'll be part of Tableau, and then I'm from Vizag too. So that's a fun fact about me. Okay, so let's summarize what we have discussed so far. So we have talked about all the 5 pillars of value, from identifying, capturing, measuring, and communicate.
Make sure you have a strong governance model with respect to your IT and business stakeholders.
And we also talked about different ways of how we can capture value.
identify the metrics, and review it with your executive team.
And we also talked about shelfware and usage and customer portal to make sure like we are always tracking.
Proactively perform the server health check to avoid business impact and maximize ROI of your deployment.
So before we jump into the next section, any feedback or questions for us? No one? Okay, we'll go to the next one. So what's next?
Now let's learn what you can do next after attending this session. The first thing is that you can go ahead and define the value using Tableau Blueprint Planner. If you want to go ahead and learn more about it, contact your account executive or the customer success manager, or we also have a Tableau booth in the data village. Go ahead and check out.
And also you can talk to your CSM to actually give you an assessment survey so that you can actually go and help identify the value and also gaps in your Tableau deployment. So this assessment can be done by yourself or with the presence of your CSM. They can guide you as well. Okay. So as I talked about the value booth earlier at the Tableau day, I want to actually do a Tableau value booth right here. What do you think?
Take out your mobile
Are you all ready?
phone. Yeah.
So take your mobile and just point your camera. You will see a form popping up on the top. And the form should look something like that. And what I do in the value booth is basically capture the before and after story, how you are actually getting benefited with Tableau and what's the impact on your organization. So once you submit that information, we can actually see how you are actually using Tableau today. And for any further questions, we will also provide you our information. Like Sagar and I will be available for you. You can also email us with your information, and we will be reaching out to you so we can talk about your journey. And if you need any help with the use cases collection within your organization, we can also help you.
But let's get connected right away, right? We don't have to wait to get back. So everyone open your LinkedIn mobile app.
If you have one.
If you have.
We'll show you some cool tricks. This could be the tip of the day. Maybe some of you already know about this, but this is really cool. Make sure you turn on your Bluetooth.
Yep.
And then there's a My Network at the bottom. And there's a button which shows like the human with plus sign.
Over there.
When you click on it, you will see connect with people around you. And you should see this screen. And you can connect with us, or you can connect with like-minded people in the room. That's how you can get connected. We thought that this is a great conference and where we are all networking. So please go ahead and use it if you are really interested. Okay? Not the least, but also, please complete our session. Feedback, if you can. We want to definitely improve ourselves. Please provide feedback, whatever you have, and we'll make sure we always listen to your feedback, and we will improve ourselves in the future. And please work with your CSMs on the blueprint if you haven't done so, and it's going to really help you. And thank you so much for your time today to come and attend our session. And we strongly encourage asking questions after the session. We'll be here, and we can also meet you outside the room as well. Thank you.
And by the way, we are hiring.
Yes,
Thank you.
We are also hiring. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you.